Dr. Erik Fisher is a licensed psychologist and joins us here at CNN Center to try and process what we've all witnessed. And it appears that the gunman carried many grievances, was let go a number of times from various jobs, and put real planning and effort into this shooting. What does that and what was in his manifesto tell you about his mental state?
Well, I think we have to look here's somebody who, for a long period of time, felt that they had been persecuted, bullied, humiliated, embarrassed, shamed, and all these emotions, and the effect of those emotions on us is feeling weak, feeling our power taken away. And what he was seeking to do was to try to get his power back. Potentially his role in the media had him knowing how to get attention, and his use of social media, he knew that he would get some attention, whether it's infamy or not. But the outcome is simply tragic, and we have to look at this as a society and not just focus on the individual.
You're saying this is a larger issue. I mean, this is the first time we've seen it on live television, and he even recorded it and posted it on Facebook as well. I want you to hear what WDBJ station manager Jeff Marks had to say about what it was like working with the shooter. Let's listen to this.
In his personal relationships, sometimes he was a little aggressive, and people were shy to work with him. He was just not a pleasant person, as it turned out. He seemed to have some anger and distress.
So he seemed to blame others for his own shortcomings, and we have people in our newsroom who have worked with him at these previous stations. They say the same thing. Is that a common trait in disturbed people, to blame others and not take on responsibility? Because what changes a regular person from being someone who could take on a violent act like this? Well,
again, this is somebody who externalizes. If he was more narcissistic, at the core of every narcissist, which is somebody who looks to the world like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, at the core of every narcissist is shattered ego. They can't deal with any more blame or shame or guilt, so they project it outwards. If this is somebody with more persecutory delusions who might have been potentially, borderline psychotic, and we won't necessarily know that, then you're looking at somebody who feels like the world's against him, and that can overlap into some of the narcissistic traits. So what we have to look at here is he saw the world as it was him against the world. What he then did with the South Carolina shooting is he found his cause to attach to, that in his mind, I believe he was trying to say, I'm going to represent the African-American societal culture, and I'm going to fight that battle for them. And then he was able to focus that on his targets of, he felt, 2 people who affected his employment at that last news station, and he held a grudge for so long. It wasn't just about them. It was about all the people that wronged him, and he just projected all of that rage and anger and hatred onto those individuals.
I guess as a way of trying to justify it in his own mind. You were telling our team earlier, as bad as this all is, you don't necessarily see his act as evil.
No, I think...
What do you mean by that?
Well, what we have to be careful of is often we want to call the person evil and move on. Next story. This is not somebody who was evil. He didn't see his act as evil. He saw himself as a justified persecutor. In other words, somebody who was persecuted first, who justifies his persecution of others, and a martyr, somebody who was trying to fight for a cause, for something positive. He said, when I go, if I die, at least I'll die at peace. So we have to see that this is something in our culture we have to look at, something around the world in multiple cultures we have to see about how we feel like other people take our power, how we feel other people diminish us, rather than looking for ways we can find our power within us. That has to do with mental health issues, it has to do with family issues, it has to do with community issues, it has to even do with international politics. We can project these issues of hierarchical models of power and having power over people versus having power with people.
So many issues, and also, even though he had this bizarre behavior, there was no mental health record history, so it's unclear if even a change in gun laws would have made any difference, because as far as we know, he purchased his weapons legally.
And if he is narcissistic, he doesn't think he needs treatment, and that's what happens so often is people don't think they need treatment, they think the world needs to change, not them.
Some incredible insight, Dr. Erik Fisher. Great to get you in here as a psychologist. Appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.